we're live right now.
Okay.
Sounds good. Are the auditors still here?
Oh yeah, they haven't even really gotten started.
Oh.
That's why I shut the door because we were talking about conflict, and I thought.
Are the auditors still here?
They're not auditing FLEDC, they're auditing FLEGDC, but still.
All right, we're live.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the January board meeting of the Finger Lakes Economic Development Center. We'll call it to order here at 8:38, and we'll start with our introduction of guests. We have Steve and Russ with Harris Beach. Welcome, guys. And County Legislator Tim Cutler is online with us too. Hi, Tim.
Morning. I hope to be there in person, but the snowstorm got in the way. I can't come down my driveway yet.
Fair enough. All right, so then we'll move on our agenda. Steve, do we have an executive session today?
We don't. We don't.
All right, then our next item is the review and approval of our minutes from our December 20th meeting. Does everybody have a chance to review those, and are there any questions? Suggested revisions?
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes.
I second.
Thanks, Bill. Second?
Yep.
Well, hold on. real quick. Let's have. So Tim is here.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tim's here today because Tim is going to be. He's our new legislative appointee to the board. We have another question that remains as to whether or not the legislature has formally appointed him to the board or has just named him to the committee. Named him yet, so we're not sure. And we couldn't verify yesterday with the legislature because they were closed, with the county because they had the water main break. So we don't know whether it's Bill is our formal legislative appointee or on the board, or if Tim is. So I guess I would ask that either Kim or I don't know. What, Russ, Steve? Do we have both of them? Do we have both Tim and Bill vote just in case?
Yeah, I would have them both vote.
Okay.
And if we find out that the ledge has not formally taken action to appoint Tim to the board, we'll just have to represent it once that's done.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so let's do it. And if we're not properly seated as of today, we're just committed to do some cleanup actions after the fact.
Okay.
Bill might have to correct me. I don't believe the legislature passed a resolution on this appointment.
No, there's been no resolution or anything.
Okay.
Organization meeting.
So
then
then,
Bill's good.
yeah, there's been no resolution. So I guess Bill's still on record as a board member.
Yes, unless he's been replaced, that would be correct, Steve.
I have no idea.
Well, if there hasn't been a resolution
Yeah.
officially
Yeah, I don't know.
appointing Tim to our board,
Yeah.
then it's still
All right.
you.
All
right.
And then
I would think
February,
so.
it'll be Tim and our other board members that we need to get reappointed.
Okay, so Tim, we're gonna have to make sure that we have a formal resolution to appoint you to the
I'll check
board,
wisely.
Yeah,
And
we got some
actually,
other.
and we have some others
I'll
as well.
send that over to Emily and I'll make sure Tim is added to that list.
Right, okay.
Might make some phone calls too to make sure that
Yeah, I got a note to call her to follow up with.
the ones that are reappointed are. we gotta up our attendance here. So
Yep.
Mhm.
All right, so it sounds like Bill's voting on this. Do we have any revisions or any other questions on the minutes from the prior meeting? So we have a motion, and I think we had a second as well.
Yep, I second Mary Ann.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, carried. Next item on the agenda is if there are any changes on the agenda, which it does sound like we have a couple.
yeah, I think we got basically a whole new agenda. We were going to add Cuca Business Park snow plowing bid. We need emergency signers too.
Yes.
We need to add, I guess it would be emergency check signing authorization.
Maybe you want to wait one more meeting to see who's staying and who.
All right, so let's not add that, never mind, scratch that. So we're adding Cuca Business Park snow plowing bids, and we'll have to table both Paco Palace and Cuca Property Ventures resolutions.
Okay. Okay, so we'll move on then to the finance report.
Sure. I have checks of 5,764 to 5795 and E74 to E76 totaling $52,806.92. I also have a few checks for Finger Lakes Horizon to be signed today as well. 331 to 333. We did not have that meeting, but those total $113,982.24.
Okay.
Profit and loss, we got a project fee for Oak Hill. The total for the year, our project fees are a little down, but then again, that's still the backlog of the projects that should be coming through. And repairs and maintenance was high due to, we had Train here doing some HVAC repair work. I don't know if anyone else got any questions.
Yeah, we ended the year slightly down from a profit and loss, or net revenue expense standpoint. Ended up down 20,000. We had at least 3 major projects that we would have gotten agency fees in get pushed off. One almost made it under, which was the Norbit Solar. That one, missed by literally probably a month. Maybe it'll stretch into, well, I guess we missed by 2 months, right? We're already in January, so I think it's supposed to close now next month. That one would have pushed us well over. Same with if Greenwich would have been able to go forward with some of their expansions, that would have pushed us way over, as well as the county solar projects that got delayed due to no surplus availability on NYSEG's transmission lines. So 3 pretty big projects that I think are all still alive. We're just, well, except maybe not Greenwich's expansion, I don't know with that one, but the other ones were just a victim of timing there.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the finance reports Doreen sent out ahead of time, or on the checks to get paid today? Okay, hearing none, could we have a motion to accept the reports and pay the checks?
I'll make a motion.
No move, Kim.
Second, Mary
Did I
Ann.
hear Mary Ann?
Yep, second.
2? All right. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's carried. On to the management reports. Mike, Doreen, who wants to lead us off?
I don't have anything new to add.
Alrighty. So I'll just give a quick update on the Downtown Business Council. December, things got a little bit quiet on that front after the fall festival, just because of the holidays and the push for the holiday season. Businesses were busy, but coming back strong in January. They've created their First Friday events that went on all last summer and fall. That's going to be now a year-round activity. So each month on the first Friday, the businesses will stay open late, just to kind of create that activity month in, month out. January was a little bit quiet, as it usually is. It was more of a the restaurants saw more of an impact than the retail businesses. Going forward in February, they're going to do a chili cook-off, a part of that First Friday event. So some of the local restaurants will be providing their chili, and it's going to be a blind taste test, and winner gets bragging rights. That will be hosted at the Cuca Candy Emporium. People that are downtown on that first Friday can go in there, do a little sampling. It's no charge. Just get a little sample cup from multiple different restaurants, and then vote on their favorite chili in the area. Other than that, the events committee, a part of the Downtown Business Council, is pushing forward for the Wing Walk event to bring that back. We did that back in 2019.
Probably 2020 was
It was
COVID.
probably, well, it might have been right before COVID in 2020. Time's blended together. But we're going to bring it back March 5th, so it's the first Saturday in March. And right now we have 6 restaurants, which I think it's going to stay at 6, that are going to participate in the chicken wing competition. That being the Cuca Tavern, Mustang Pub, Parker's, Liberty, and the Silverbird. So we're working on a way to, wing costs are finally starting to come down a little bit, but the committee is going to hopefully provide a little bit reimbursement to the businesses this year, knowing that there is an increased cost. And they are also going to increase a number of attendees for that event. The first one was 300 participants. They're going to bump that up to 500 this year. So obviously that's a little bit more of a cost for the restaurants. So providing them a little bit of support to put on the event, I think makes sense with the environment we're in now. They're also putting out a monthly newsletter that's going to be available both online and then at select stores and locations downtown. So keep an eye out for that. They did do one in January. I know they had a few at the diner and other locations around town. So kind of gives an update on what they're doing month in, month out. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot. We're going to be pushing forward with the DRI and Building Improvement Fund, trying to get those projects to finally go. I gave an update late last year, so we're going to keep pushing forward on that, and hopefully see some things starting to begin with those.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
What's going on with the Red Cedar Falls?
So they, very end of December, were awarded a CFA grant that they had applied for. It was a reduced amount from what they applied for. So right now they're trying to assess the situation and see if they can continue with the project despite having a reduced grant amount award. So they're kind of reassessing everything now. So we're going to be working with them.
Yeah, they got basically a third of what they asked for,
Yeah.
which was disappointing. It was the whole I'll probably get in trouble from the state again, but we're already being audited, so what's the worst that can happen, I guess. The state's CFA system, the portal, which is again meant to help
Ease the
companies
process.
ease the process of figuring out what state programs to apply for. We're 10 years into this thing, and 11 years, and they still have it where once you click submit, if you happen to apply for the wrong funding source, even though you are eligible for it, you are not allowed to go back and change your source. And so the CFA this year was supposedly an open format, whereas previous years it opens in July, grants are due, your submissions are due about 3 weeks later, and then a couple months after that they announce everything. This year they left it open more, but it wasn't fully open. There were more like 3 separate rounds of it, and every subsequent round had less money to dole out. And so Red Cedar tried to get in round 2, but applied for Market New York credits, not ESD capital funds. And I was all over ESD like this was an error. They did not mean to, it shouldn't be this one, it should be the capital grants, and there was no undoing it.
Wow.
So they got pushed to round 3, which meant even less
Funds.
money. Amy Story just came on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry I'm
Morning.
late.
Well, it's all right. I didn't think. Wow. All right. Are you feeling okay, Amy, to do this? You don't. You don't.
Yeah, I don't feel the best. I'm not going to turn on my camera, but I apologize.
Well, no. Don't jeepers. Don't apologize. We're just going over our status reports, and then we'll have to loop back and check with Russ and Steve on if we then can do some of our projects. You make our. You give us our quorum.
Okay.
But just to finish where I was there, so basically they got pushed to round 3. They were ranked the #1 priority project in the region, which gave us quite a bit of hope. But when the submission came out, or the award came out, it was, like I said, about a third of what they asked for. It was still a good amount, but they got $750,000. But it's a big project,
Yeah.
so it wasn't enough for them just to immediately go. So I'm going to hopefully go back to ESD with Red Cedar Falls and be like, all right, is there what else can we do here? Because it's the #1 ranked project. It should, we only get 20% of the vote still, even as a region, so it's still more Falls and Albany, but we'll have to see. But that's probably more detail than you care to have, but that's
good.
that's where it is.
And the project costs have obviously gone
Yeah,
through the roof
yeah.
because of COVID, labor and materials. So
How about
the reduction hurts
did they-
even more than it would normally.
Have they received the permits they need from DEC?
I think they're close. I know they have the local municipality approvals. They have seeker review done. I don't know about DEC though.
Okay.
I will go through pretty quick then the rest of mine. I have just a couple quick updates. I guess the first one I'd like to just kind of offer up is just to send our condolences to the Rosado family. I don't know if you saw that Vince Rosado, who they have 111 Liberty, which is a project we worked with him for a long time on the corner of Liberty Street Bridge. He unfortunately passed away a few days ago from COVID. That after a long battle with it, but so our condolences to Cindy and the rest of Vinny's children and family on that, which was very, very sad, obviously. Still lots of activity, lots of hope around that project, which obviously now is kind of puts things a little bit into perspective of where it ranks in terms of importance. So I just wanted to say that we feel, send our condolences out to Cindy and the rest of the family. Continuing to push forward on a lot of our outreach and I guess relationships with Cuca College. So have we've already started. You see in the report that Killian has started and with us on some of her videos, and the senior capstone project is underway, which I won't bore you with that. You see it; it's detailed pretty well in my management report. I'm also going to be presenting Monday, I believe it's Monday, to the Humanities and Fine Arts faculty retreat. Basically, just giving them an update on Gates County and what we're trying to do through the Community Associates Board and them to try to get more faculty involvement. I'm hoping maybe as early as next month we can start our monthly coffee meetings. We're going to have with a handful of Cuca, I call them employees. They have different terminologies between what's a faculty member and staff, but with Cuca employees, I believe hopefully we can get that started next month. And I have my monthly, this will be the second month of it, monthly radio interview at WFLR tomorrow. And as far as, I guess, Cuca Business Park, I met with Joe. I'll go over it with Doreen. Joe Sorensen, we got an idea. We put together our priority project list for Cuca Business Park. By far the most important project this year is getting a roof on the first Seneca building where church flooring is. So hopefully we can get bids ready to go out here very, very shortly. See what those come back in at. And I have been meeting with some real estate developers to figure out how we can attack, we'll still, we don't have a name for it yet, but the Milo Business Park. See what we can do with the existing farmhouse there and some ideas around that. Infrastructure costs and materials costs are making it a bit of a challenge for what we originally hoped to do. It's almost definitely going to have to be some sort of mixed use or mixed, maybe not mixed use, mixed variety development between some maybe townhomes, something that can add more density. So yeah, probably won't be able to be a whole bunch of single family homes to keep it where in the price points we need. But hopefully can keep them to some degree owner occupied. So that's what I have. Happy to answer any questions. I did see that Noni reported that the county had a really good year, which means that the county had, from a sales tax and occupancy tax standpoint, which I think echoes what we've heard from the local businesses, that sales were strong and occupancy was strong. So that's a positive.
Yes, it
Yeah, all right, well, thanks everybody for the management reports. Does the board have any questions for the team? Let's, if it's okay, why don't we skip forward on the agenda to the Cuca Property Ventures resolution while we have Amy with us, if we could do that first? And then we could circle back to the beginning of the action items list. Is that okay with everybody?
I would just look to Harris Beach to see if that's.
Yeah, I just think you just need to add it back onto the agenda, 'cause I think it was taken off, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so I would go back and add that as an agenda item. And then if you want to jump around, Ryan, that's certainly within the board's discretion.
All right, so we're gonna add Cuca Property Ventures LLC resolution back on the agenda now that we have a quorum, and it's gonna be our first action item that we address here today.
Okay.
So with that, I would turn it over to Steve or Mike.
I'm looking forward to seeing the minutes of this meeting. See how.
Good luck, Maureen.
Watch how this goes back and forth.
He's tested me every month, didn't he?
See what else we can add here. All right, so Cuca Property Ventures, just is a real quick, I guess, review. This is what is currently the Top of the Lake restaurant, and it's the acquisition and more or less, I mean, the real project stands in the complete renovation of the facility. If you recall, we've already had, I guess, our initial resolution. We scheduled the public hearing. We held the public hearing. I think the minutes were
I sent those out
included
last night.
in your
Yeah,
board
it's not
packets here.
Are they in here or not?
Yes.
There weren't any,
Another one right there.
there were no negative comments at all on it. I think people generally are pretty excited about it. So now we're back for the inducement resolution here, and as part of that though, again, because there's no, it did not have to go in front of the planning board at Milo, so the state requires there to be a seeker review on this, and therefore a lead agent status. So with it, we usually rely, we're starting to do this a little bit more frequently now, we usually rely on the local planning boards. In this case, they're not having to see it, so we would need, or I guess we don't have to, but we are looking to take lead agency status on the project and either give a declaration of negative impact, meaning there is no negative impact to the environment, and have it go forward. The question is, we've been going back and forth quite a bit, and Steve and Russ, specifically Steve, have been a huge help on this, leading us through it. There's a question as to what the project could entail dredging of out into Cuca Lake. It may not, but it likely will. And it even says in his original application that he has hopes of putting permanent docking in there, and it could require dredging. They have done some surveys and such out there, and it's likely. But if that were to occur, it's going to have to require DEC review and Army Corps of Engineers. I think Army Corps of Engineers. There's going to have to be some state formal review process on this. So the response back from Harris Beach is they're comfortable that we can take lead agency status on the project as we know of it today, which is basically the renovation of the interior, a little bit of the exterior, adding some decking and such to the property. And then if it were to go to a dredging status, being under the full awareness that the state's going to step in at that point and take things over from a review process.
Right.
Did I basically hit that correct, Steve? Is that, and Russ?
Yes, that's correct.
Good.
So, Steve,
Can I-
when it was discussed at the public hearing, was the dredging aspect discussed or raised at all, just out of curiosity?
It was, yep. Again, as a potential, well, I say potential, as a likely need to do so, yes.
And nobody raised an issue with it?
No, I think people are, I think people are generally hoping it happens, because then it might help us get additional dredging done once we understand the process of going through it.
Yeah, that's my question. So it would just be out front of the restaurant property? It wouldn't go any further towards the beach or the hotel?
Yeah, I mean, I think
That would have to be their...
it's going to have to be
their initiative or their project.
right. That's part of whatever. They actually did have an engineering firm come in and do some sort of sonar testing and depth-wise and all that. So I think how much dredging has to occur is still unknown, and where is unknown to make it usable, I guess.
Yeah, I think my only question or concern is if there was no representation from the KLA or from the Finger Lakes Land Trust or any of those organizations that, that it may become a bigger issue than it is at this moment. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't move forward supporting it. Those are just some of the things that are going through back of my mind.
Those are you're on point, Amy. Those are all of those parties, would have to be worked with and coordinated with on it. So, yeah, and that's where.
Thank you.
Yep. So as part of that, we have to answer a bunch of questions that I will read through. The project owners filled out part 1 of the environmental assessment. I think we've gone over this before, but I don't want to. I can read the brief description of the proposed action, if that might help folks. I don't want to give you details you're not looking for, or give you less than you're hoping for. Do the description?
Yeah.
All right, I'll give the description here as he has it listed. Renovation of, this is at 301 Lake Street, Penn, New York. It's the renovation of existing restaurant interior, prospectively to include kitchen repair and upgrading, addition of short order walk-up food window, interior and exterior finishes throughout, and addition of stairwell to the basement, partial finishes in the basement, replacement of exterior decking, patio renovation to exterior basement area facing the lake, driveway and parking area paving. Project possibly to include the addition of geothermal cooling and heating and solar roofing with the addition of EV charging stations in the parking lot. Possible requirement for limited lake dredging to enable safe access by boating traffic to access the restaurant docking facilities. No new physical or permanent structures are contemplated for the project at this time, only existing structural renovations. He then went through and listed a bunch of questions. There's 1.12 total acres, none of it to be physically disturbed. As he said, he's just doing building renovations, and I think there will be some on the paving aspects and parking lot enhancement, pothole replacements or fills, that sort of thing. And I can, again, I don't know, Russ or Steve, do I read all of his project 1 answers?
No, it just, so long as it's made part of the record of proceedings, Steve, you don't have to read them, and so long as the board has had ample opportunity to review.
Okay.
So it does not need to be read into the minutes.
Okay. He has signed it and acknowledged it, that, I mean, there's nothing on here in his that strikes it as showing anything that's of
impact.
concern, right? So I will go through question by question so we can answer it here on our short environmental form. The first one will the proposed action create a material conflict with the adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? Again, he's doing what's there now, he's just gonna expand it. So I'm assuming I'm okay clicking or checking no on that there's no material conflict.
I would agree with that.
All right. How about I'll give my answers, and if there's challenges to it, someone can raise a hand or challenge me. Will the proposed action result in a change of use or intensity of use of land? I would say no, or a very small impact may occur. And those are our two choices, by the way. No or small impact may occur, or the other choice is a moderate to large impact may occur. Will the proposed and there's 11 of these, by the way.
So the dredging wouldn't fall into that? Just the building and the, okay.
Yeah. Will the
Steve, I would say small, just because I think they're going from a permeable surface for their parking, because I think it's just rocks and dirt right now, to a non-permeable if they're paving. And again, that somewhat impacts runoff into the lake. Not that it matters, but I just want to be clear.
Okay. So it's small. You're
Small
saying
impact.
the small impact.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Again, he's just taking what's there and
Making it better.
making it better.
Yeah.
So that's no or small impact. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishments of a critical environmental area? No or small? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? I think his hope is that he's going to be very busy, but even a very busy it'll make a small impact on the area. Number 6. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? You can see he's looking at doing some geothermal, he's looking at solar. Even if he doesn't, I think he's just taking the existing building and renovating it. So I don't think he's going to cause an increase, or he won't fail to incorporate any, reasonably available energy conservation methods. Any challenges with me clicking no or small impact there? Will the proposed action impact existing public, private, and water supplies? It would have no or small impact. He's connecting to existing infrastructure. Will it impact existing public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Again, he's connecting to what's already available to him. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architecture, or aesthetic resources? The answer is no or small, I believe. Number 9, will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? Examples include wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna. Again, as far as what we're undertaking here, the proposed action won't adverse those natural resources. Any dredging that possibly is going to occur, he's going to have to go through and get additional state reviews and approvals anyways. So I would say no or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? I think again, no or small impact. He's not changing the footprint at all. Amy brought up the mention of paving the parking lot, but I think it's no or small. And then the last one, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? I think that one's pretty easy, that no or small impact would be the one to check there. Any questions or concerns with that? Okay. Then the last part of this says, check this box if you have determined, based on the information and analysis above and any supporting documentation, that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. If we're okay with that, I will check that box. Okay, and then I will, I can sign this separately, but Steve and Russ is part of the overall resolution. It's incorporated, this lead agency status is incorporated in that, I believe. We don't have to vote on this one separately, do we? Or give this its own resolution?
No, it's Steve Meyer, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is and should be incorporated within the resolution that's being presented as part of the overall approval. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Then with that, I would look, I guess, to have a vote on the final resolution. Again, this is a proposed to be a $2.7 million project. The total creating roughly 11 new full-time equivalent jobs. Total economic benefit to be $6,581,147. That includes his investment as well as the cumulative pilot payments over the 10 years and his payroll. The total community investments are $402,127. That includes a 10-year property tax abatement of $307,327, sales tax of $73,200. Sales tax abatement of $73,200, and a mortgage tax abatement of $21,600. So obviously a pretty big community benefit to community investment. Those aren't new numbers. I'm just refreshing your awareness of them anyway. So with that, we would need, I guess, to bring to we need a motion if the board so chooses to approve the resolution.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Bill?
I'll second.
Okay. So this will be a roll call vote. Doreen, could you walk us through the roll call, please?
Yep, Bill,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Ryan.
Abstain.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Amy, for for battling through and logging on for us. Let's see here.
So then, that concludes that piece, so we'll move back to the top of our next item on the action agenda, which is what was the first item on the original agenda, the ACAM Enterprise lease renewal.
Yep, this is just a 9-month renewal for Suite 110 at its single office for $225 a month, which includes utilities and internet.
Okay.
I'd make the motion to extend that lease.
Bill, second, anyone?
Second, Mary Ann.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, that one's carried. So we had removed Paco Palace from the list today. That still needs to stay off, correct?
Yeah, we're gonna table that this month. Shout out to Steve and Harris Beach for trying to make it work yesterday. We just didn't have enough time to get it around, so we'll bring that forward next month.
Okay, so then we'll move on the agenda to the item we added there, which is the Cuca Business Park snow plowing bids.
Yeah, so if you recall, a few months ago, we sent out bids and didn't receive any responses, which was concerning. We've since checked with a couple of other entities and some municipalities to see if we could even contract with them. None of that worked out. And so Kevin Jensen of Jensen Brothers sort of came back to our rescue. They have done it in the past and did submit a bid, which I mean, there's a list of it here. It's by far. Well, it's our only bid. but in some of the,
We did get that other one
and-
from
and-
Matt, from Clean and Green, that was
Yeah, we did.
$35,000
Yeah.
for 4 months.
Oh, gosh.
And they didn't have any way to solve it, so.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we did have one sort of, was that a formal?
Then it was just verbal, but
We had a verbal bid for $35,000 for 4 months, plus that didn't include salting. So Jensen Brothers are coming in and able to do it. There's, again, he lists about 6 different things here, but he has all the equipment, which keeps it much lower. Basically $65 an hour for, I can go through all this or not. It's by far the best offer, by far the best offer we've received. And clearly, you know, we want to just make it be known here that obviously Doreen has is related to Kevin Jensen of Jensen Brothers. They are married, but I've been working with Kevin on this, so he is really the only bid we've had that can do this, and he is far and away the best offer to do it. So he has done it in the past for us, and he's phenomenal with it. We're extremely lucky he's able to do it for at least this year, and we'll figure out what to do next year if he's not able to. So need an approval to give the snow plowing bid for Cuca Business Park to Jensen Brothers.
Make a motion to approve.
A second?
Second and Kim.
I think we had motion and second.
Yes, sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. I think that concludes the action items on the agenda. There wasn't anything else. You'd mentioned one, but we didn't add it, right? So.
Yep, no, I think we're good. I think we're all set.
So our next meeting regular scheduled meeting is February 16th, but we may need a special meeting. Steve, is that correct, to review the Paco Palace final resolution?
Yeah, I'll check with them on their timing. They are considering a construction loan for the project, so they may utilize the mortgage tax abatement. So depending on the timing of that.
Mike, this is Mike and Steve, Griffin and Ryan and others. My suggestion is that's a great plan. Check with them before you have to go through the metrics of scheduling a special meeting.
Yeah.
Find out, okay, how real are you and fast are you going to move, and then we can coordinate after you have that conversation.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I would hate to have the board have to have a special meeting, even if it's 5 minutes long, and for the, like I said, the calendaring metrics to work out, and then they're not actually ready to go.
Yep. Yeah. No, we'll make sure that we'll just do it next month unless it's something that's dire for them.
Okay, that's a good suggestion, Russ. Thank you. Does anybody else have any other questions or anything to add here for the good of the order? All right, then we'll adjourn the meeting here at 9:21. Thank you, everybody, for your participation.
We need a motion to adjourn.
Sorry for being late, Ryan.
Amy, thanks for being here.
No, thank you, Amy.
Really appreciate it.
Hope you feel better.
Did we get?
Did you get a second?
Did we
I
get the
didn't get a
formal?
motion.
We need a formal motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second
So
it.
moved, Kim.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We now are adjourned. Thank you.
All right.
Stay tuned for these minutes.